Hi, this is MJ and today I'm going to be showing you how to make our Wonder Fluff ribbed hat. So I'm using Wonder Fluff and this yarn is a bulky weight. It's from We Crochet website, also known as Knit Pick. So We Crochet is a website now just for crocheters. So this is a bulky weight yarn and it has a blend of baby alpaca, nylon, and merino wool, and it's really soft and cozy. And there's a beautiful selection of colors on their website, and I'll have the links in the description box for the yarn. And you'll also need for this pattern a 5.5mm crochet hook, and I'm just using the Bright Comfort Grip hooks from We Crochet as well. Our toque here is in Kale Heather, this beautiful dark green, and it's made with our 40 stitch row, so that's a little bit shorter, more snug. And then I also made this hat with a 46 stitch row, and it's in Cobblestone Heather, so it gives a little bit more looseness and a little bit more slouch. So this would be the height of your hat, and it's about 11 inches. So depending on the yarn that you're using, if you're using something different, I have 11 inches. And my rows, just so you also have an idea of the gauge here. I don't want to pull it too far apart, but I don't want it too squished up together either. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Got about 12 rows there going across. So that gives you an idea if you're close to the gauge. If, let's say, you're using different yarn and you don't quite have 11 inches, then you may need to start out by chaining a little bit more. And if your rows are off, you may need to do a few less rows or a few more rows, just that you end up with the final dimension. You want it to be the same as mine. So to get started, we'll make a slip knot and put that on your hook. Now our ribbed hat is worked from the side across, so we're going to begin with a chain of 41. Okay, so I have chained 41 and I actually need to chain 42 because I'm going to be working a half double crochet. So we're working in the third chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, yarn over, going through the chain, pulling up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 3. Yarn over, go through the chain, pulling up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. So we're working half double crochets all the way down our chain so that we have a total of 40 stitches. So I'm just coming to my last chain and I've double checked that I've got 40 stitches. It's really important with this pattern to count and make sure every row has your 40 and that you're not losing a stitch. So chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to be working in the back loops only. I know it's hard to see with the fuzzy yarn, but the loop closest to me is the front loop. The loop farthest from me is the back loop. So instead of going under the stitch, we're just going down through the center of the stitch, pushing so we're only grabbing that one loop and make a single crochet. So the back loop of every stitch, we're working single crochets. And this actually is now the right side of our work. So our first row is the wrong side. Our second row is the right side. So I'm just going to mark my first row. So I know this is the right side of my work, so the side that the stitch marker's on, because believe me, we're going to be alternating rows of half double and single, so you can mess up. So if you just have a marker to remind you, when we're on the right side, we're doing single crochets in the back loop. And again, count. This yarn, it's really soft and stretchy, and I found when I was working up my first piece here, sometimes I looked at it and it looked like I was losing stitches or it was looking off shaped, but it's just because of this yarn being so stretchy. It can look like you might be losing a stitch as you go, so just make sure that you're counting every row, and then that's going to save you grief later on. You don't want to have to pull your work out. So I'm going to finish working my single crochets in the back loop off camera, and I'll meet you up at the end. Okay, I've worked all the way across 40 stitches, and now we're going to chain 2 and turn. So now we're on our wrong side. We know we're on our wrong side because now we can't see our stitch marker. So we're on the wrong side of our work. And now we're going to work still in the back loops, but we're going to work half double crochets. So yarn over, go through the back loop only, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. And again, you want to count every stitch to make sure that you're not dropping one. So I'm going to continue to work all the way across, and I'll meet you up at the end. Okay, so I've worked all the way across. Now we'll chain 1 and turn, and I forgot to mention at the start that we're not including our chain 1 or our chain 2 as a stitch. So that's why we're working into that very first stitch when we're working. So now here's our stitch marker. We know we're back to the right side and that we're going to be working single crochet stitches in the back loop. So this is all we're doing for the entire hat. So the hat is going to be worked all the way across. So this is going upwards, and the lengthwise will be the width we need to make it, or the length to fit around your head. So we have a lot of work ahead of us to get the rows that we need. So I'm going to continue working my rows off camera, and then I'll meet you up when I have my correct length. Just going to take a peek here at this swatch I've already been working at. And as you can see, the side I want is my right side. The ribs are a little bit bigger, and then on the wrong side, you're getting this nice almost knit look stitch. So you could always reverse it and have this as the right side and the other as the wrong side. So basically you can have 2 different looks, but what I like is when we flip the band over, when we're wearing it, it gives us a little bit different look on the band than this part, which I love that it has a little bit different look to it, giving it a little bit of contrast. So if you changed it up and go this way, really, it's reversible either side. I've just decided to pick a side off the get-go just to help when we're working it up. So I'm going to continue working my rows off camera. So I decided to try going with 46 stitches. And so now I'm ending on my right side. So that's our single crochet back loop only row. and I have a total of 50 rows. So for every bump, you can count by twos because our one row goes down and then our half double crochet pops up. So if we just count by twos, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 26, 28, 30, 32, 44, 46, 48, 50. So we have 50, and this fits a 22-inch head size well. So if we measure it, it's going to have a lot of stretch. So it's about 17 to 17 and a half. But this is really going to stretch out when you're wearing it. Okay, so you want to fold. This is our right side. We're going to fold it together. And this yarn is so soft. It doesn't really hold the structure super well. So you just got to play around with it to even it up. So now we'll chain one and we're going to slip stitch our ends together. So we're going through the first stitch and the first stitch of our starting chain and slip stitch that to join. So you're just going to go through every stitch, slip stitching it together. Just try not to pull your slip stitches too tight. You just want to work sort of loosely up the side here, joining it together. Okay, so I've slip stitched all the way. Now I'm going to chain one and we're going to flip so that that seam is now on the inside, and you're going to see how seamless it looks. So it just blends right in. You can hardly tell that the seam is there. So now what we're going to do is start closing up the top of the hat. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll single crochet in this first stitch or row, and now every single crochet row we're going to do a single crochet. So we're skipping over the bigger sort of bump section and then doing a single crochet. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've worked around 25, and I'm going to work into the last one for 26, and I'm going to slip stitch in the first single crochet to join. So we haven't pulled it in all the way, but we've decreased it quite a bit. So now we'll fasten off with a tail. So we needed 2 balls, but we have quite a bit left over, so you can see that there, but you do need 2 balls to make the hat. I'm going to take my yarn needle for bulky yarn, or just a yarn needle that has a large enough head on it. And we're going to work through the front loops only of every stitch around. Now it's hard to tell with the fuzzy yarn. You can just give it a tug as you go too, but just try and find that you're grabbing that front loop only. You can do one at a time, or you can add a couple on the hook at a time, or the needle at a time, whatever is easier. So just continue doing that all the way around. All the way around, you're just going to pull it tight. It should just easily come together. And we're going to weave, because it's not going to stay together without doing some weaving. So we'll weave one way, and then that's still not going to secure it going in that one direction, but once you start going back in the opposite direction, that's what's going to secure it. Now this needle is a little big for this section here. It takes a little more tugging to pull that big end through. Anyways, just continue weaving until you're sure that your hat's going to stay closed. And you can just trim your end. And now we have another step that we're going to do. Because this yarn is so soft, I really wanted to give this edging a little bit more structure than what we have. So first off, I want you to find the seam. So when you flip the band up, you will see that seam here. If you take a look at my other hat, we have this nice edging that's going along the top, and that's just really going to give it a little bit more structure to the hat. So I'm going to join into that, our slip stitch seam. Chain one. And what we're going to do is we're going to work one single crochet for every row. So we have 50 rows. We want to evenly single crochet around 50 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3. So you should be having a stitch roughly in this area and this area as you go. So I'm just going to evenly work my stitches around, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so I've worked around 50 stitches. I'm going to slip stitch in my first to join, chain one, and then I'm going to work another round of single crochet. So I've worked around 50, I'm going to slip stitch to join, and now I can fasten off. And now we'll just want to weave in any loose ends. I like to weave this one so they're hiding. So I'm just going to weave them through on this side. Okay, so now you can fiddle a little bit to get your hat looking nice. Again, because the yarn's so soft, it'll stretch all different ways. So you can just fiddle along around with it to get it looking nice. So then a few little details we can add. So I like to add a personalized tag to my pieces. So these are from brickbubble.ca, my tags, and I have these leather rivets that I've ordered from Amazon, and I'll have the link in the description box for those. And I think I'll use silver for this one. I think that will look nice. There's the gold, bronze, and silver included in this set. This makes it really easy to add your tag. So just make sure that the seams at the back then you just take that side and push it through. it should pop through. And then you just pop them together. And these pom-poms from We Crochet have strings attached. So all you do is separate the string out. And I like to use my yarn needle, and then I'll just weave them through the hat, the top of the hat, and then tie to the inside. The needle just helps. If you just stick it on your needle and then pop it through. And then you just have to do that for the other side. So this pom-pom color I'm using, it looks white, but it's actually a little off-white. So the color is cream if you're looking on their site. And the pom-pom I used on this one is called Hair. Now here's the inside of my hat. You can remove these if you need to for washing. All you want to do is just tie a bow . Now a really great tip for pom-poms is they usually come kind of squished in your packaging. So if you take a blow dryer and just give them a good blow dry, it really fluffs them out. And even if over time it's looking a little squished up, you can still just blow dry them. So here's the difference with the two sizes. So this one's going to be a little bit more loose, give you a little bit more slouch, or you could fold your band up, the band up even more if you wanted to fit your head a little bit more snug. So our balls of Wonder Fluff are 50 grams, so I only used an extra 10 grams to do our 40 stitch hat, and I used about another 20 grams to do, so I have just over 30 grams left and I have 40 grams left here. So that just gives you an idea, but you do need to purchase 2 balls for both size hats. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please subscribe to my channel and tap the bell so that you can stay updated on new videos and tutorials.